Hi everyone and welcome to a new video. In this video we're going to take a look at the ICO of the merchant token. Because this is a classic ICO and they're not using a launchpad, I think it is very important to be extra careful and do extra research. That is why we are going to take a look in this video at the good things and the possible bad things of this project. If you like the sound of that, be sure to hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe at the end of the video. Now, before we dive in, I think it is really important to know what you are investing in, and thankfully they have a link to the white paper on the main page, so that is the first thing that we'll take a look at. So the first thing you will notice that the merchant token is being backed up by a company called HIPS. HIPS is a merchant acquirer, so basically they sell terminals and payment services to companies, and they're mainly focused on Sweden as their main market. This is also why the URL of the white paper is on the hips.com website, which of course can be a little bit confusing and that they didn't put it on the merchant token website, but hey, it is what it is. Scrolling down, of course, you get all the information about the project. They talk about what the problem is. So basically the problem that they want to solve is that they want to make the payment system in the crypto universe a bit safer for the consumer. So the first thing with any project that you have to ask yourself is, what is the problem that they are solving? In order to understand the situation, you have to be aware at how credit cards and credit card payments work at this time. So right now, if you have a credit card, you have one from Visa, mastercard, or another company. And basically, Visa guarantees the merchant that you are qualified to pay and that you are good for, if I can say it that way. This way, the merchant is certain that they'll get their money. Then on the other hand, of course, if the merchant does not deliver the products, you as a client can file for a chargeback and say, hey, I never got this product or service. And then Visa or MasterCard will say, hey, you are a bad merchant and we're going to reverse the payment and we're going to charge you with a $20 chargeback fee. This means that in this system there is some kind of balance between the merchant and the consumer, and this thanks to the third party, which is Visa or MasterCard. Now, when it comes to crypto payments, of course, anyone who has the keys to a wallet is assumed to be the owner of the wallet. You can compare this with the 3D Secure function that you have on Visa and on MasterCard. Basically, as soon as a merchant says, I only want to accept payments with 3D Secure, and somebody does a payment using 3D Secure, you can assume that that is the owner of the credit card. Now, when we take a look at the cryptocurrency space, we see that a portion of the system is also covered. Normally, on the regular system, we use 3D Secure to prove that somebody is the owner of the credit card. Well, in the crypto space, whoever has the private keys of a wallet is assumed to be the owner of the wallet. So in that sense, the merchant side is completely covered and we are happy with that aspect. On the other end, on the consumer side, there are some things missing. As soon as you put something on the blockchain, that is final. You can't reverse any payments. So in the case as a consumer makes a payment for a product or service and the merchant does not deliver on this promise, then there is no way to reverse this payment. And this situation is something that the merchant token wants to offer a solution for. And I know this might seem a little bit complex, but basically they are proposing a escrow service. So you place the order on a website, the website asks you to sign off the payment with your MetaMask. Then instead of sending the money directly to the merchant, you send it to a smart contract, which they call the HIPS merchant protocol. And then a little mechanism is put in place. For example, if I would say I will deliver you the products in 5 days, there will be a timer for 5 days. And if you didn't receive the product in 5 days, you can file for a dispute. Now, to resolve these disputes, there are two options. We can either use automatic dispute management, or you can use community dispute management. When it comes to automatic dispute management, it is heavily focused on the reputation score of the merchant. So if it is a very reputable merchant, probably all of the payments will simply go through directly. If the reputation is low, then usually all cases will be decided in favor of the consumer. Now, I personally, as a merchant, I want to see more information about how this system works. These few examples are definitely not enough to give me a safe feeling as a merchant. I personally would opt for the community dispute management. Basically, as soon as there is dispute, it is being sent to a dispute management system, and then several people are being assigned as judge, if I can call it that way, and they'll take a look at the case and either rule in favor of the consumer or in favor of the merchant. When reading the example, it's not completely clear if they want to make their own dispute management system or if they're going to use an external one, because there are definitely some good projects out there. And when you read number 6 here, they say the dispute agent will conduct an investigation based on data available in any supported dispute platform. If I read it that way, it seems like they're going to use an external service for this and not build their own. But again, this is not very clear in this paper. Then we talk about the fees. Basically, they'll take 20% of whatever fee is being charged on the blockchain. So if we, for example, use the Ethereum blockchain and we have to pay $60 in gas fees, they will take $20 out of these gas fees, which is $12. Then if there is dispute, the chargeback fee will be 3 MTO. So at launch, the price of the MTO token will be $3. So basically, there will be $10. It is a bit weird to see this. I assume the 3 MTO will not be fixed, because if the MTO price, for example, would skyrocket to $50 and I would have to pay 3 MTO, that means that for each chargeback I would have to pay $150, and I'm definitely not comfortable doing that as a merchant. So I assume that they're going to use this thingy here, which is the DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization. Sadly, there is not that much information about this in the document, but they say that they're going to use a DAO to adjust the fees. So I hope that they're also going to adjust, or at least allow for people to vote on these fees, because otherwise I'm definitely certain merchants will not feel comfortable. Then suddenly, on page 20, we see that there's going to be another token next to the MTO token, which will be the MEO token, or the merchant coin. The merchant coin will be native to the merchant blockchain, so yes, that means that they're also planning to create their own blockchain. So when we want to find out more about this specific blockchain, we first get some more information about why Ethereum is slow and why Solana is a better solution. So in reading this section, I assume they're just using the Ethereum network because there is so much capital locked up on the Ethereum network, and of course they want to get as much funds into the project as possible. We've seen similar strategy with different projects, so there's nothing wrong with that. So when reading this, I think the first product will be mainly focused on Solana. Of course, it's a lot faster than Ethereum 1.0. In the beginning of the white paper, they also talked about Cardano. Sadly, I don't see any information about this in the rest of the white paper. And then scrolling down, suddenly they talk about their own private blockchain. So this private blockchain will be a complete ecosystem. It will have personal tokens, loan tokens, organizational tokens, NFT tokens, crowdfunding tokens, and so forth. And then with this new blockchain is also a new coin, which is called the merchant coin. And then as soon as that blockchain launches, you'll be able to convert your MTO token into the MEO token. I think this whole situation is a bit weird. It feels and it seems to me that they're trying to leverage the decentralized Ethereum, Solana, and so forth. So the decentralized crypto community, sell them a token and then hope that they will shift that money into their own private blockchain. If you then go back to the main website and click on timeline, then we see at the end of the timeline the launch of MPG, which is the escrow service. So on this timeline, they're not talking about their private blockchain anymore. So I think it is safe to assume that if you invest in the MTO token, you are investing in this escrow service and you're not investing into the private blockchain. Whether that is a good or a bad thing, I leave that up to you guys. Of course, when it comes to tokenomics, I always like to see some more information, like the token distribution, so it's a bit sad that I didn't put it on the main website, but we can find it in the white paper. So more than half of the tokens will be sold to the public. Then we have 8% for seed supporters, 5% for private sale participants. Usually I say, team advisors and strategic partnerships, I see them as 1. Then we have the strategic ecosystem grant pool, which of course is also managed by the team, so I don't see that separately. But yeah, as you can see, good news, more than half of the tokens are not owned by the team itself. The last thing that is important about tokenomics is of course the fully diluted market cap and the circulating supply. So the way I understand it is at launch all of the tokens will be on the open market, so that means 100 million tokens at $3, that would be $300 million market cap. In that case, I'm definitely missing a release schedule, so we don't know when early investors and the team, etc., can sell their tokens. I think if 30% of the owners suddenly sell their tokens on the open market on launch, that could of course cause some panic, and it could cause the price of the token to crash. So I hope that they'll give some more information about that as well. All right, now that we know what this project is about, it is time to look at all the good things about this project. So first of all, it is always good to have a white paper, so that's good. We see that there is an audit. This means that the contract of the token that you're buying has been audited by Certic, which is definitely a known company in the crypto space. It is very important to understand that this simply means that there is very little smart contract risk when you buy the token. This doesn't say anything about the company itself or about the strategy and so forth. So it simply means that there is limited smart contract risk. When you want to find out more about the company or the people behind it, you go to About, click on Meet the Team, and then thankfully they have a very public team. You can look at their LinkedIn profiles. Apparently John went to Stanford. If you want to verify if somebody went to Stanford, you'll have to contact them, and I think you have to pay or you have to be an alumni. So sadly, I'm not able to check this. Then there is more public information. You see some more information about the company that is behind this project, which is HIPS Betal Service. You then see the company ID. This is something you can look up on the official government website of Sweden. We also see that they're a financial institution with this number, and if you look up this number on the website of Sweden's Financial Supervisory Authority, you'll indeed see that this number is owned by HIPS Betal Service. Now, if you're planning on doing a serious investment, I do suggest that you pay for the reports. I think it's 250 kron if you want to find out more about how HIPS Betal Service as a company is doing. I think this is important as well. But yeah, you have to pay for this information, so sadly I can't show this. The next good and at least interesting thing that we see is that you can buy the tokens directly with Visa and mastercard. Normally with ICOs you just have to send some Ethereum tokens to a wallet and then hope that they will give you the tokens at launch. But over here you can actually use normal fiat payment methods like Visa, mastercard or bank transfer. Personally, I would be looking at Visa and mastercard because, as we explained in the white paper, if you use Visa or mastercard, you can actually file for a chargeback if they don't deliver on the tokens. Then last but not least, I think it's interesting to see that they already have over 1 million raised in this phase and 55 million raised in total. This means that when it comes to marketing, they're doing a really good job, and I think in this phase of the bull market, marketing efforts are at least as important as fundamentals, at least in the short run. So it seems that they are doing a good job in that sense. All right, then it's time for my concerns. So first of all, in the white paper, I'm missing a lot of technical information. It's also very confusing that you start out with a decentralized solution and then suddenly you throw in a centralized blockchain with a second token. I don't see any information about that on the timeline either, so this is definitely confusing, and I hope that they will clarify this in the future. When it comes to the token itself, I am also a bit worried that they don't have a token release schedule for all the investors. This is very common to show when all the tokens are being released. It would be concerning if they are all released on the token launch. Now, when it comes to the scope of the project, on the main page they say DeFi payment protocol that enables POS terminals on blockchains and brings consumer protection to crypto payments. So the escrow service definitely covers consumer protection. However, I don't see anything in the white paper about POS terminals. Now, we do know that the HIPS payment group already is active with payment terminals and so forth in the Swedish region, I think, and they claim to have 200,000 merchants, which is definitely impressive. Keep in mind, Global Payments is worldwide. They have 3.5 million merchants. WorldPay has 1 million. Worldline is very active in Europe and they also have 1 million. So yeah, 200,000 is definitely impressive. And of course, I do believe that they are able to convince those 200,000 merchants to use their solution. However, it will be a lot harder to convince all of the other merchants, acquirers like Global Payments, WorldPay, Worldline, and so forth to use their solution. Especially if you keep in mind that, for example, Visa and MasterCard are also moving into that space, and every single terminal is already using Visa and MasterCard. So if they come up with a solution and they say, hey, just update your terminal, everybody will say yes, and I think it will be very difficult for the merchant token or PundiX, for example. It's a similar project. It will be very hard for those projects to get in and get a portion of that space. Now, if you want to find out more about my concerns regarding these solutions, just check out my video on PundiX. It will pop up in the top right corner of this video, and then I'll go more in depth in that video. Alright, this brings me to my final conclusion. Now, the time of the market is definitely important as well. Right now, it seems when you take a look at Doge Coin, Shiba Inu, and all those kind of tokens, it seems that marketing has become more important than fundamentals. If you keep this in the back of your mind and you're planning a short-term play and you think that merchant token has some really good marketing going on, then you could consider buying some of the tokens and then selling them at launch. If you're planning to doing a more long-term investment, I do recommend to do a lot more research and maybe even skip this ICO. Now, why do I say this? Well, basically all the launches, IDO, ICO, doesn't matter. They have this kind of curve, so there's a lot of hype in the beginning and then they start flattening off. So usually maybe 1 or 2 months after the ICO, you can buy actually at the same price that you would have paid at launch. Only this time you will know how the project is performing, if they're hitting their milestones and so forth. So if you're looking at doing a more long-term investment, I would even consider waiting on buying the token, or maybe buy a little now and then see how the project evolves to then further invest. I would definitely not FOMO into the pre-sale. Of course, none of this is financial advice and you should always do your own research. When it comes to my personal decision, I don't think I'm going to invest in the merchant token. I don't feel like doing a short-term play, and I usually prefer buying my launch tokens from a launchpad. Alright, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have some more information about the NTO token, or if you have some comments about it, do not hesitate to post a comment and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.